I got banged up for murder and I didn't know if I committed it because I got covered in somebody's blood. 72 hours in a cell, in my head's telling me, did you kill him or not? Because I didn't even know because I was so off my nut. I hit a number of rock bottoms. In 2004, I was brought back to life 3 times. 2 unknown traces in my bloodstream. They couldn't work out what I've done. And the family was called in to say bye, but another opportunity in life. I didn't take it. There's no words can describe the happiness and joy I feel. I'd say to the newcomer, you're still alive, you dodged so many bullets, it wasn't luck which kept you alive, you're blessed. Come in the rooms, you got something to give back.
Hello and welcome to 12 Steps and 12 Questions. My name is Silvio and I'm an addict. This pod is full of personal and inspirational stories of recovery from addiction. And in every episode I'll ask each guest the same 12 questions about their life, addiction and recovery. Quick warning, there will be some graphic descriptions and a healthy amount of swearing. For this episode, please welcome Vinny. Vinny, thank you so much for being my guest today on 12 Steps and 12 Questions. Welcome.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, my name is Vinny and I'm an addict. I am exactly 2,359 days clean and sober, which equates to nearly 6.5 years. My sobriety date is December 16, 2017, and I'm blessed to be alive.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll dig right into this amazing story that you've got to tell. Let's start with that question 1, and that is, did you have any adverse childhood experiences?
Growing up in the 70s with a religious family, Hindus, we didn't know what was right or wrong. So the adverse experiences which I did suffer was seeing my father coming in and being a very angry man. He was. And domestic abuse, domestic violence, and it didn't matter who he hit or who he grabbed. He would turn around and he would take his frustration and anger out on us quite a bit. But the understanding is we didn't know what was right or wrong. And don't get me wrong, he had his good days as well. He used to take us out and he used to spend some time with us and we used to enjoy it. But then there's always a time when there was the dark side, which he'll bring back home or whatever he's picked up at work or, whatever he's feeling resentful to work or his family, and you take it out on us. So yeah, we just got used to it because I've got 2 big brothers and a sister, and I get quite emotional just talking about it.
Yeah.
I get flashbacks.
Yeah. So the physical abuse, was it aimed at you as well, or just your siblings?
It was aimed at whoever he could catch.
Right.
And I was a very quick runner, and I was very good at hiding.
Yeah.
And my brother used to get it a lot, and my sister. So, that aspect, sort of hiding underneath the bed and watching them get beat up, it still hurts.
Gives me flashbacks. My father, God bless his heart, but he was I often think of him as being a dry drunk, actually, in many ways. He was also he seemed to have a lot of anger, a lot of resentments that he carried with him, and he took them out mainly on my sister, sometimes on me. So this experience of seeing your siblings getting beaten up is something that I share. There was a lot of that in my household, especially when I was under 10, and it stays with you. It doesn't leave you, So here you were, how old were you then? 6, 7, 8, 9 maybe, and you were watching your sister and your brother getting beaten up.
Yeah. And also, the racism was rife.
Right.
Where we used to live in North London, we used to have a lot of skinheads. We're only going up to school and, the skinheads chose to pick on my brothers and annihilate them and beat them up black and blue. And there's a little visions which I couldn't do nothing about it at the time. But there's a lot of anger towards the world.
Yeah.
How can people be like this? The situation, my father bought a brand new car, the locals didn't like it, and what they chose to do was trash it.
Yeah.
And, that's another vision. There's a Peugeot 504, blue colour, still got a vision on my dad's face going, what have they done?
Yeah.
Pride and joy. So, with that type of experience, hatred is already been boiling, and I'm only a kid.
Yeah, and you're already feeling hatred.
feeling hatred to the world. It's not only that, it's from a religious family telling me what to do all the time and telling me what I should be eating. You know, even with Maryland cookies, we weren't allowed cookies because they had animal fat. We weren't allowed to wear leather jackets because leather, you know, all this type of stuff has been embedded into us, which is the religious side of it.
Yeah. So for those, obviously people can't see you because it's a podcast and, you know, so you say Hindu upbringing. For all of those who don't know exactly what that entails, do you want to give us a bit of a rundown what it does entail?
Well, the Hindu, the caste of Hindu is that, you know, we're praying to like Hare Krishna, we're going to the temple, evening on the Saturday we're going to prayers. We've been told to do prayers in temples, which we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. I did. Being told we have to go to Gujarati school, which is the language. We don't want to go, but we're getting forced to do things which we do not want to do, and we got no choice because my mum was very good with the slipper,
right?
So we was absolutely literally dragged out.
So there's a lot of physical abuse in your family then, if you got it from your mum as well.
Yeah. But mum was like gentle enough, you know, not the fisty cuffs. She was very good with the jump ball, which is a slipper. If somebody's gonna get it, they're gonna get it. And most of the time she just wanted us to do the right thing, which turned me into a bit of a rebel at a young age.
How young?
6, 7.
How did you rebel?
Yeah, I did. I did to an extent. I was all just slapped back into place.
So what form would that take if you were rebelling? What did that look like?
Not listening, not doing what I should be doing, just being a kid. Really loved playing on the streets, loved climbing trees, loved breaking into places, and you know, just used to be just a kid on a bike, which was those days was a good thing because you're out there on the streets playing. Well, the rebelling side of it is more to do with I didn't want to listen to the religious beliefs already.
Yeah.
So I was always getting jealous with people in school because they used to have cheese and coleslaw sandwich. So in the end, what I used to do was to beat up whoever I got and take their food as well just to try it, which is not nice.
No. So that's bullying. You ended up being a bully.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I think I was. I say kind of. I'm just justifying it. Yeah, a little bit of a bully.
Yeah. The racism thing in particular, I mean, I grew up as a foreigner in Germany. You know, my parents are Italian, both of them, so I kind of look different. It's obviously different to being a Hindu, clearly, you know, and so on. But still, there was quite a bit of that feeling of being different, of looking somewhat different than the others, eating different foods, speaking a different language, all of that. And it made me feel, and it's something that later on I actually cherished but also used, but it made me feel different, and it made me feel like a bit of an outcast almost at different times. Is that something you can relate to?
Yeah, I can relate to that. And we go back to growing up and the fairness and the hatred. You know, I was fearful to use public toilets. In school, I used to run home to use the toilet. And it's crazy because everybody uses the toilet. And I don't want to. And there was many a times I didn't even make it back home. Yeah, right. You know, which is quite scary when I think about it. I can own it now and admit to it. But I say to myself, how were you living like that? Yeah. I'm a child who's scared to use a public toilet and the school's about a 20-minute walk. Right. So I'm running home to use it. Yeah. You know, and it's crazy, I know. I know it's about addiction and behaviours, but you know, there's things in place already. I mean, when we used to turn around, and my mum used to work for a factory, and our reward was 1 packet of crisps, and we had to share between 4. So we had to count the salt and vinegar sticks. Yeah. And we used to count them and go. Yeah. So, you know, all them type of things. And that was a Thursday afternoon. I still remember that. Amazing.
It's interesting also that I think time has times have changed radically, haven't they? You know, when you grew up in the 70s and the 80s, that was a really different time. And I think racism was just much more part of everyday life, much more than it is today. At least that's my impression.
Yeah, it was a lot more. And the thing is, it was a cultural thing as well, because when I was growing up, and I admit I was scared of black people because I found them really strong and really, you know, they're gonna take something off me, and you know, you shouldn't be like that. But you know, my head was wired already that way.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I had to be careful around that, and I had to overcome that fear.
Yeah.
And the way I overcame that was to fight them, and I soon overcame them.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so in my own way.
Yeah. Yeah. So our question 2 is, what did the good times look like? What the times where you got first hooked, when you first got hooked, right? So here you are, you're a South Asian kid growing up with an abusive household, and you've become a bit of a bully, and there's certain bits that you struggle with, right? And at some point, alcohol or drugs were introduced into your life. What did that look like?
The first time I experienced that type of thing, my father was a secret drinker.
Right.
So he never used to drink in front of us. And I know that it's for a fact that there was bottles. And I do remember seeing them bottles. But the first time I experienced was May the 10th, 1980. The West Ham and Arsenal final. And we was with a neighbour. We was watching the football at the FA Cup. And I remember picking up a can of Foster's. So that's at the age of 7. Took only a few sips. But, you know, that's the first time I actually came across alcohol.
Yeah.
Did that situation in that life, in that time, did it turn me into an addict? No. But I still remember it. Well, the only thing that happened that day, you know, I do remember, was I turned into a West Ham supporter because they won 1-0. And all my brothers and everybody else is Arsenal. So, you know, I think Foster's and West Ham, they go matching. It's strange because I have a daughter who was born on May the 10th.
Right.
In 2005. So it's crazy how that date just springs out to me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you had your first drink at a really young age. You became a West Ham supporter when the FA Cup was still worth something. I get it. You know? And how did that progress then? How?
Well, the progressive side of it is there was no progression on it. You know, I couldn't turn around and say I was a full-blown, you know, drinking away. But, you know, we're living in North London and hearing the domestic violence which goes on around it, which is our downstairs neighbours. I mean, they used to row all the time. And there was, we know it was, you know, to this day now, I know that it was alcohol-fueled.
Yeah.
So everything which is going on around them and the abuse which is going on downstairs, we can hear it. We can see it. And did I have an understanding what he was doing to their lives? No, I didn't, you know, because, you know, for that type of period of time, you know, I was still going to school and, you know, trying to be sensible. And I think I was doing a good job of it. I just don't know. You know, as we go along, I know where I went wrong.
But at some point, alcohol or drugs were introduced into your life, and you had a good time with them at first, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, at the age of 13, you know, my sister, she got married, and she moved to East London, and I remember being really emotional about losing my sister. And I still remember it is, you know, I was still going to school at the time, and you know, things were wishy-washy in my head. And I just remember going to the off licence in the back of Bonsbury Park, and just going to the off licence and choosing the colourful bottle. Thunderbird's blue, Thunderbird's red. You know, and when I first took my drink, I do remember that because I walked out of there and I took my first swig of that. And I do remember the heat and the disgusting taste.
Yeah.
But it lit me out quick, and it changed the way I felt. And it changed the way I felt is, you know, there was no emotion. You know, it suppressed something inside me. I felt uncomfortable as a child anyway, not belonging, you know. But once I'd done that, I was a different person, you know. And things happened, things progressed, and one bottle turns into two, and I'm not going to do it tomorrow. And I end up in the school grounds drunk, end up in the corridors, drunk as a skunk at some stages, or when, you know, I was introduced with hashish early, or a bit of squidgy, and I'm smoking that, and I'm feeling a bit of a part of. And I didn't know I was up and running at the age of 13, 14, and it's kicking in, and I'm thinking everything's going to be all right. And even in school, you know, people separate themselves from me.
Right.
Because I would do the craziest, dumbest things. And if somebody told me to do it, I'll do it just for a laugh. And even if it means hurting people, I'll do it. Because I want to be accepted.
Yeah.
And being under the influence and ended up in schools which I shouldn't have been in the first place. And I think it's quite hilarious going into a classroom and introducing yourself as a school kid who's doesn't even belong to the school. But those days, they didn't have a clue because there weren't that much computers.
So you're really young still at this point, you know, 13, 14, 15, right? But you were drinking quite heavily already?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I looked at the black guys walking around the roads, and, you know, they got the special brews. You know, I want to drink a bit of special brew. I want to see what that tastes like because it's quite strong. And then I want to drink the supertenants. So from an early age, I'd turn around and I'd want to drink something very strong, very quickly, to get that feeling.
Did you, at that time, sort of think to yourself, was there any awareness? Did you think to yourself, I shouldn't be doing this? Or was it just a bag of fun and you didn't give a fuck?
I was told by a lot of groups that I shouldn't be doing this. And what I was doing, I was destroying myself already. And, you know, I had a lot of conversations with people and some naughty people as well, telling me, you know, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And you will end up getting in trouble. And I used to say to them, well, do you know? I know what I'm doing. You're doing the same as me anyway, so who gives a shit? That's what I used to be like, and that's the attitude I had.
So it was really problematic from early on.
Yeah.
Right? Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. From early on. You know, when I'm on the streets, I'm washing cars to earn a business, and in the background, I'm stealing whatever I can. So in the outside world, look at him, and he's sensible. But yeah, I'm breaking into places like casinos and arcade shops and sweet shops, and I'm robbing people. But in the outside world, I've got a business, and I'm a car washer. I'm a street car washer, and there weren't that many car washing places out there at the time. So everybody's thinking, here we go, he's going to get established. But little did they know what I was doing in the background.
Yeah. So criminality came into your life pretty quickly as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to love nicking stereos. They were easy to nick. You get 40 quid for them.
At the time?
At the time. Blaupunks, Alpines, Kenwoods, you name it. Things came my way. I was wheeling and dealing at a very young age. If it wasn't screwed down, I was having it. And I still remember when I first stole from a shop, it was Brent Cross. It was in the boots, and it was a game called The Hobbit, Commodore 64. Yeah. And I remember looking over my shoulder, and the security guard did not see me, and I feel that heat coming from me, of that little effect of, wow, I've got one over you, and you ain't caught me. When I did get home, and I told everybody, it was gifted to me. They didn't know where it came from. It was gifted to me. So already lying. Yeah.
What was the whole thing, I mean, looking at it from today's perspective, of course, what was that all fueled by? You know, so you're drinking quite heavily, you're really, really young. Yeah, you're drinking quite heavily, you're smoking a bit, and you're stealing quite a lot. What was this fueled by, do you think?
It was fueled, and I'll be honest with you, it was fueled by that feeling internal, the internal feeling of, oh, look at that, look what I've done. That ego is getting caressed. Yeah. That pride, and I'm there, I'm a part of. Yeah. You know, mixing with the wrong people, I'm a part of. They're getting involved in different crime, I'm a part of.
Yeah. So you felt kind of rejected by a certain group of people. Yeah. And it was difficult at home, but if you hung out with the quote unquote wrong kind of people, you felt a part of and you were participating in what they were doing and you belonged.
Yeah, to an extent, until they have enough of me, I'll move over to the next people. You know, through the gangs who I used to be with, I mean, there was a lot of trouble. There was a lot of stealing, a lot of stolen goods, and I settled, in the end I settled with the Irish, because the Irish accept anyone, and they baptised me Paddy Patel because of my drinking.
Paddy Patel?
Paddy Patel, yeah. And I was baptised in Kilburn, which was my hangout, where all the Irish were, and, I used to go into the Galtimore, and I had to stand up for the Irish anthem at 12 o'clock midnight.
Right.
They used to have to hold me up. But I used to have a right laugh with them, because they were mad as hatters. But not realising the extent of alcohol and drugs, they were falling like flies. We lived on the middle floor, and they lived above us. And I used to just not make it home. And there was only one floor, one flight of stairs, and I didn't make it home.
Yeah. And drugs had come into your life as well?
Yeah, they came into my life quite early as well. I was accepted by a one-to-one trainer, a big black guy, and he accepted me back into his flat, and he was my hero, because he was drinking Bacardi like it was water, drinking vodka like it was water, and he was a porn star, so even better. So he's got women around him, he's smoking dope from the morning, sniffing gear throughout the afternoon, and he's also got women around him, and that was amazing. So I think I called him my new dad.
Right.
To an extent.
Right.
No,
my new dad's a porn star.
Yeah. So
I mean, some of this, if we're looking at it now, Paddy Patel and my dad is a porn star and stuff, some of it is a bit absurd, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, when you actually say it that way, yeah, it sounds a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But that was my life.
And did you, at those, in that time, did you have a good time? Was it doing things for you that you couldn't do for yourself? Was this the good time that you were hoping for?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the kitchen parties, the house parties. I liked all of that. I liked the environment I was in. I liked going to the club and buying bottles of champagne and sniffing gear. I loved it all. I loved the music scene. I loved all the raving scene, the decks, the Techniques 1200, you name it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, the environment to be in, and listening to like proper acid house, and it was great times.
Yeah.
But there was already dark times happening. And when I rewind my life of situations I've been in, there was still heartbreak going on around me due to alcohol and drugs. But I was choosing to ignore it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would never happen to me, because they were weak. That's why it happened to them.
Right, and so the others were weak, and that's why shit like that happened to them.
That's why shit like that happened.
Yeah,
And that's what I actually thought.
It brings us neatly over to question 3, which is, what were your worst consequences? And finally, your rock bottom. Now, obviously, this covers quite a long time in your life, right? So let's go for some highlights here and how this progressed until you came into the room. So you are here maybe 20, 21, you're hanging out with the Irish lot, they've given you a great a great nickname, and you're having a good time for the most part, you're using quite heavily. How did that progress and became problematic, and what did that look like?
Well, the progression on that is it accelerated very quickly. Having a friend die, a friend who I used to call a sister actually, who died of an overdose in the same flat I was in where we was partying.
Yeah.
That broke my heart, and with anything on the consequences wise, they were already in place because the consequences were already happening. Have I been arrested? Yes, I have. I was arrested a number of times up to the age of 21. An incident which happened was that we had a party. It was my brother's birthday, and I've been drinking very heavily, and I lost the plot. And as I lost the plot, I ran headfirst into a middle floor window to throw myself out.
Right.
No, I'm not sure what happened after that, if I landed at the bottom, but all I know is I woke up on a meat wagon with the police, and I'm fighting the police, and they've turned around and put a blanket over me and beat the hell out of me. But the blanket covers all the bruises, So, that's a bit of a rock bottom there. And then there's another one which, was on a high road, and somebody's tried to rob me at a cash point and put a bottle over my head. Not only that, sliced my nostril off as well in the process. So, all that type of stuff, and running through pubs, getting chased by police. There's just so many number of factors of things. Even in the early 20s, going to Ibiza because I'm thinking, let's go out there and party, and getting caught on a plane at 36,000 feet sniffing gear, drinking a litre bottle of brandy on the plane, and being absolutely paralytic. I'm thinking there's no issue. The friends I was with, they locked me in a hotel room, and I climbed out the top floor window and climbed downstairs on a drain pipe, absolutely off my nut. And I could have easily died, but I thought it was quite funny.
Mm. You didn't think this was problematic at the time?
No. I think by that time I've lost a part of my brain cell by then.
Do you think you were out of control then?
I was out of control for a long time.
Mm. How long were you out of control for?
For about 30 years.
Right.
Everything and every time I do something, next time it'll be different. Because next time I'm not going to get into that trouble. So I use that as my scapegoat all the time. This time it'll be different. The controlling of alcohol and drugs. When we lived in North London, I was at the back of a box room, in a little box room with a digital lock. They didn't know if I was there or where I was. And if I was in there, I would lock myself in there, listening to music and sniffing gear. At the age of 19, I already had a gun in my mouth. Because certain situations happened. And that certain situation was sexual abuse at a young age.
Right.
So that's been manifesting in my head, and I'm already a ticking time bomb. But because I'm a big I had IGS syndrome, and if nobody knows about that, that's imaginary gangster syndrome, because that's what I was, and that's what I thought I was.
So imaginary
gangster syndrome.
Okay.
Because I think I watched enough movies, Goodfellas, all the other films, and Menace to Society.
Yeah.
I think I could be one of them.
Right. Okay.
But admitting the sexual abuse side of it was something I never did.
I see. Yeah.
Because it was the one inside me which was ripping me to bits.
Right. And when did this abuse happen?
This roughly was about at the age of 13.
Right. Okay.
Roughly. I can't remember what year it was.
Yeah.
There's a number of things. There was also somebody who lived down the road from us, and he used to sell a lot of puff. And, he owed a lot of money to a drug dealer, so he chose to take his life. And when he chose to take his life, we didn't see him for a little while, and we smelt something really funny coming from his house, and he was already hung, and he's been there for about 6 days. So, with that type of experience where I'm knocking on the door and knowing that somebody's already passed away because of drugs related, it was heartbreaking to know that he was already in there, That and a number of factors or other things, it turned into a bit of a washing machine in my head.
Let's slow this down just a little bit, because you are mentioning so many traumatic experiences within just seconds of each other. From sexual abuse, which is a really difficult topic, right? Over to people killing themselves or dying because of drugs and so on and so forth. All of those just in and of themselves are traumatic experiences. And it sounds to me like you had a lot of them happening pretty quickly, one after the other.
Yeah. But the thing is, I chose to use some back of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of them I didn't even make it to their funerals. Because I chose to use. And it was about poor me.
Yeah.
And I get welled up talking about it.
Yeah. Understandably. When we're talking about 30 years of using, right? A lot can happen in that time, and a lot seems to have happened in that time. Did you at any time have any awareness around that your using is problematic? Did you feel that it was creating more problems than it was solving? Any of this? Or did you just think, this is what I do what I do, this is who I am, and you can all get stuffed?
If you're enjoying this podcast and would like other addicts and alcoholics to hear it, then please make the pesky AIs and algorithms work their 12th step. Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I did start drinking lager shandies. Yeah, and small beers.
Yeah, so that's your refreshing brand of moderation.
That's what it was, and that was moderation. And then the vodka used to make me really violent, so I stayed after vodka and just go on to Jack Daniels because I could mellow out on that. So I used to just drink different spirits to work out what that effect it has on me, and try and choose one which doesn't make me really violent, so I can still carry on using. With the balance of sniffing gear, the balance was always there. If I couldn't drink no more, I'd sniff a lot of gear. And then by that time I can't sniff no more, I'd just drink more. And it was just vice versa. So you look at ABC, innit? It's alcohol becomes Coke, alcohol dependent, and then Coke is just a balance. Yeah. And any other drug which comes in his way, then I'll give that a blast.
Were you able to hold down a job during this time?
Yeah, through that, I got through a YT scheme at the age of 19. I had no choice but to choose a subject because of the trouble. And the only space left was a plumber. So I chose plumbing. And on the building site, training as a plumber, the first thing they told me to do was at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, down tools, you got to go down the pub. And you must drink 4 to 5 pints. Otherwise you have to work until 5 o'clock. So I chose that to go down the pub. Yeah.
So you were in an environment which kind of just supported you drinking and you using?
The environment on the building site, if anybody did on a building site, is pure using and drinking. And, throughout the days, you never used to get drug tested, no alcohol test. Or, I've had friends die on site, collapse, heart attacks, stuff like that. So there was nothing in place. At lunchtime, you had to go down the pub. Wow. By that time, with the criminal activity I was doing, it was easy to get rid of fake notes as well. So Charlie Big Bollocks, big ego, come on, let's go.
Yeah. Now, towards the end of you using, how far did it progress, and was there any kind of rock bottom for you? Because not everybody has them before they come into the rooms. Some people do, some people don't. Yeah. What was your experience?
The rock bottom in 1996 was one of the years I'll always remember. That's where I lost the front of my teeth. I lost everything there. The using was accelerating with obscene amount. I've gone to Amsterdam. I've taken my own sniff out to Amsterdam because I don't trust their stuff. And on the way back,
dedication, that.
Yeah, and I've come back through an airport and got arrested bringing stuff back. I went on, and that was that a rock bottom? Can I be truthful? I laughed it off because the people I went with, they all got searched, and as they were getting searched, the customs asked them, have they got anything in it? They all said no. But I'd actually planted drugs on them as well to bring it all back. So we all got arrested. And they didn't talk to me for a little while. Yeah. And I thought that was quite hilarious at that time. But
still, 1996, you came in 6 years ago. There's another 15 years or so in the middle. Did it get progressively worse, or did it just about stay the same?
It progressively... Some months were good, some months were bad.
Right, okay.
I could say that, and I could say that for hand on my heart. Some days I'd have 2-3 weeks clean, thinking I've cracked it, and I can probably have one. And one led to another, and the blowout was whatever I've built up, and over a period of time, I crashed it down very quickly. So all the trust which I built up, I demolished in less than 24 hours. And it was an ongoing pattern, a pattern which I thought was going to be impossible to break. And by that time, I've lost a lot of friends this time. They used to call it adult cot death, and they still call it that. And these are people you used to use. So is the body just gave way? Who knows? I believe now to this day, I was going out that way. And hitting rock bottoms. I hit a number of rock bottoms. In 2004, I was brought back to life 3 times. 2 unknown traces in my bloodstream. They couldn't work out what I've done. And the family was called in to say bye. But another opportunity in life. I didn't take it. I stayed clean for 6 weeks with steroids and stuff like that. And then after that, I started using small little beers. And I was up and running very quickly. So all them type of rock bottoms, I hit basements. And something or someone kept me alive.
Yeah.
I believe.
Now, our question 4 is, at your worst, did you ever want to die, or did you consider suicide at your worst?
Yeah. I used to say this all the time, I'm shit at dying, because every time I've done it, they brought me back to life. I used to turn around and use so much, and I put my body, when I'm lying down in the dying position with the 2 arms on my chest, because I'm dead. And the next morning I'd wake up with one eye and go, hold on, this doesn't look like heaven. It's the bloody same box room. And I sit there and I go, wow, well, I should be dead for the stuff I've just done. And the opportunity was given. And then again, because you're feeling a bit groggy, I used to love the hair of the dog, because the hair of the dog would get me kick-started again, and I didn't know when to stop again.
Yeah.
So any time it would be like, just take the edge off it. The edge was taking it off me. It was basically killing me, innit? And then I'm up and running all the time. So, to get clean time was a blessing. To get any time was good.
I mean, I have to say this so reminds me of the time where I discovered that if I just had a cheeky line early on a hangover, that, I'd be all right, and my God, that just put fire, to my using. And it really, that was the bit where it really became so incredibly problematic. I mean, obviously, if you start using, early on in the morning, you've got a problem, But, it moved away from that moment of, I was out with someone, or we're having a good time, and things kind of get, quote unquote, out of hand, over to, I've got a real problem and I'm isolating and so on. That was the moment, or one of the moments, where the progression was just so visible, even to me, even at that time.
I was told by officers in 2003, and I got banged up for murder. And I didn't know if I committed it, because I got covered in somebody's blood. 72 hours in a cell, and my head's telling me, did you kill him or not? Because I didn't even know, because I was so off my nut. And when they interviewed me, they told me I had a problem. And they said, if you don't know that you've committed murder, you should seek help for your addiction. And all I wanted was my clothes back. And I didn't commit it when the CCTV showed the person standing next to me did it. And there's an issue, and that's a major issue. In the meantime, from there, I've been done 3 times drink driving. First time I blew into a machine was nearly 146. I shouldn't even standing, let alone behind the wheel.
Yeah.
In the end.
Now, we sort of touched on this a little bit earlier, and that's question 5, which is, what other methods did you try to get sober before finding the rooms? So we've already found out that you tried to swap different spirits, and, that you were a bit mellower if you didn't drink vodka. What else did you try? I mean, was there ever a moment where you maybe thought, you know what, I'm going to stop. Fuck it. This is creating too many problems. I'm done with this.
I did.
Right.
When I moved from North London, I chose to leave quite sharpish due to issues arising. And I chose to move to Essex. I said to the first missus, new life, new beginning, new house, I can do this. Getting sober time, getting clean time, doing up the house, being a dad. Amazing. It was a good feeling at that time. I thought I really cracked it. I left my card out of Plumbers Merchants. Somebody I just got connected with. And as I drove back to him to pick up my card, he said to me, "Oh, you just moved into the area?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Where you from?" I went, "Such and such place." And he went, "Okay. Would you want a shot of whiskey?" And I went, "Oh, that'd be a nice little treat, wouldn't it?"
What's not to like?
That was when I was fully up and running. That green light of, I found a new friend in a merchants. I'm a plumber. I'm going to use this merchants because he gives me a drink. And then he was using, and also he was using brasses. We used to come there. So everything was hand in hand. And from moving from North London to Essex, thinking I could live a normal life, I was mistaken. I really was. I was up and running very, very quickly. And if anything...
It finds you, doesn't it? Like, quote-unquote, magically, it finds you in the weirdest places. You can't escape it if you have this problem.
Yeah. And again, the head would say, it's not a problem. You got it under control. You know, and that marriage didn't last long.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't do, because... You know, first missus, she was a user and she was a drinker. 2 and 2 don't make 4. 2 and 2 cause domestic violence. And yeah, it was shocking. And you know, we've got a young son at the time as well. And I've tried so hard to just go knock it on the head. I looked into AA, and when I used to look at movies, I go, "You weak. Sitting around in a circle, introducing yourself as alcoholics. Man up, man. What's up with you lot? Can you not control it? How embarrassing can that be?" And I used to turn around and judge them, because I used to think it's for pop stars and film stars and this and that. And I remember meeting Russell Brand in the late 90s. And I said, "I'm never going to be like you, because you're a junkie." I was mistaken, wasn't I? You know?
No.
It's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody you turn around and you look at goes, "I'm never going to be like you."
Yeah.
And really and truly you already are, and you're just in denial.
Yeah.
And that denial took over. And the denial says it all, and don't even know I'm lying.
Yeah.
Because I lived a lie. And if I'm living a lie, I believe the lie, and I lie so much, even the lie's a lie. Who's going to believe you?
So you had your early experiences there with AA. Our question 6 is, did you struggle with the word God when you came in?
Major resentment.
Yeah.
Resentment number 1 to God. Because if there was a God, why did he cock up my life? And I used to be like that. I went, there's no God. I used God a number of times when I'm in the cell. "God, please help me. I won't do it again." Did he answer? No. "God, I won't do this." "God, how comes you taken that life so young? Why have you taken him?" There is no God. You know? And I was mistaken. I think it was already a spirit guide somewhere near me. But yeah, I had a massive resentment against the word God. And it took me nearly 2 years to actually be free to say it from the book, because I'd just changed it to higher power, because you know, it was one of them things.
You're more comfortable with that word.
We was now. I use it freely, but I don't go smashing that word around to loads of people. I just do it when I want to be comfortable with it, doing it. And you know, because some people can still get frightened.
Yeah.
Surrounded by people who keep on mentioning that word. They need to find it on their own way, not be drummed. You know, I used to chase Jehovah's Witnesses down the road on a Sunday morning, and they run. They're quick. And
they can see a madman coming, mate.
Yeah, with a lazy eye, thinking there's nothing wrong with it. And not only that, there would be somebody waving, or somebody would be laughing and joking, because here I am, I'm a big I am again. Look what I'm doing. It's wrong. Now I talk to them.
Yeah.
Politely.
Yeah, now you're big mates with them.
Yes.
Question 7 is, how do you experience your higher power in your life? And there's also a moment to share any God moments if you wanted to.
I've had this is a big one for me, because the fact of higher power, the spiritual side of the coincidences and the miracles which have happened in my life since recovery, unexplainable situations enlighten me. I used to be scared, and that higher power which I feel, and who I feel sitting next to me now, I can feel presence, and all my hairs are standing up, because as I'm talking, all the goose pimples are coming straight through me.
Yeah.
So some sort of energy running through me, and I believe that. I believe that's what kept me alive. Honestly, believe that spirit guide kept me alive for a purpose. I haven't got that many people around me from my using days. Most of them are dead, and it's quite upsetting to know, But we move on from it, and we got another chance in life, which I'm grabbing. Yeah. No one's taking off me.
No. Question 8 is, which parts of the steps were the most difficult for you? So you come in, right? Which parts of the steps were the most difficult for you? So you've come in after, 25, 30 years of using. You're a bit mad.
A little bit angry because I got caught.
Exactly. Bit angry. And, I think unmanageable as a show.
Yes,
right?
Really, yeah.
And you're presented with having to write down all of your resentments, turning towards God, a word that you have a problem with. So which parts of the steps did you struggle with the most?
I struggled with, and I'm going to be greedy, all of them, because I don't understand them, but I do go back to the struggles, probably the step 4, my part in it. Because I was adamant there was none of it was my fault, and that's the one. And also learning how to write. So holding a pen, my hand hurt. The amount of writing I had to do, I got cramped quite quick. My spelling's terrible, my grammar's terrible. I left school at the age of 13, so this is the most writing I've ever done in my whole entire life. So yeah, step 4 was a challenge. A lot of questions were asked to my sponsor. Am I doing it right? I don't understand it, and what's my part in it? Well, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And it was the magic word, but I didn't do nothing wrong. But there was always something there. And you need to understand also, the process of the chart system of working out what it affected. I needed to understand them words, because I didn't understand what self-esteem was. And all the other bits which comes with it. So, I had to have the understanding. It's good understanding. It's like, I call it education.
What do you call it?
Education.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a very, it's a do it. It's an action step.
Definitely.
And I'm a lazy git who likes other people to do my action for me. And this is a thing which I had to do to set myself free.
Yeah.
And did I leave anything behind? Yes, I did. Because I wanted to see if the program works. Because everyone used to say, don't leave anything behind, it'll come back to you. I went, yeah, all right.
And did it?
Yeah, it did.
Of course it did.
It took 3 years.
But it came.
And I shared it. And when the person I shared it with, she went, I can't believe you kept that. And I went, I just wanted to see what happens. And it was manifesting inside me. Uncomfortability was there.
Yeah.
So with the steps, step 4,
This just goes to show, though, that no matter your level of schooling or, how well you write or you don't write, I've had someone else on here also talking a lot about dyslexia, which affected them, quite heavily and so on. And that really what it comes down to is honesty, no matter how you write things down and so on, because I've had all the education thrown at me that you could possibly imagine, but I had the exact same problem that you had, which is, and I could write it down in the most beautiful words, but that's not the bloody point, is that I felt life had wronged me and I had no bloody part in this, right? And it was the hardest thing for me, just like what you were saying, to look at it and kind of say, actually, I have had a part in this, right?
Admit your wrongs.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And your level of education and which words you put that in doesn't really matter much, you know. It's that looking at the part of, which I always wanted to do. I was refusing to do that. I was wronged. I didn't really do anything wrong myself. I was wronged. Life had wronged me, and you know, and so on. And step 4, no matter how good or bad your words are, no matter how good or bad your spelling is, that's what it comes down to. That's the essence of it.
From the age of when we were breaking down from ages from 0 to 10, there was a lot of dark stuff already been written on that step 4.
Yes.
Of stuff I did to other people.
Yeah.
Which, once you start one, it's like a conveyor belt. They started flooding out. All of a sudden, it triggered a memory.
Yeah.
The school, a little smell somewhere triggered another memory. So all different environments triggered. I was waking up at 2-3 o'clock just to write down stuff which has come up on my sleep, in my dreams. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I do that to that person? Yeah. And that's already at the age before, that's the age of from 0 to 10. So there's quite major work to be done. And if somebody told me at the age of 45 when I'd done the steps, that I'd be analysing my life and writing it down, I'd be like, bollocks, you got no chance. But I had to do it because I had clear-cut directions from a sponsor, fully armed, with a solution he was willing to give me.
Yeah.
And to this day now I speak to him and he says, you was bloody hard work. But I'm here.
So our next question is, question 9, which character defects give you the most trouble?
Dishonesty.
Right.
Dishonesty. If you're a thief for 30 years, it's embedded in you. I remember my first year in recovery, and it broke my heart to go to the shop and buy kids' toys, because everything I used to get was stolen. And I never used to use the shop. People used to come to me. So when things like that happen, run up to Christmases and stuff like that, it was hard to turn it back and turn it down. It really was. But it was honest in all your affairs. Doesn't mean you do a bit of skullduggery here and there. It means you knock everything on the head. And I found that difficult. Plus I bought a legit car at 18 months with my legit money. And that broke my heart. It's a nice car. But even the salesman, I remember him looking at me because you look upset. I went, it's because I'm using my own money. Because I like to use stolen money. Yeah. I don't want to work hard for my money. If I work hard for my money, I'm keeping it. Yeah. I'd rather use yours. That's the way it is. But dishonesty is in all my affairs. I'm honest in all of my affairs. Yeah. And I think that's been a big, big foundation on my recovery. And honesty is also, if I'm feeling like shit, I will tell you I'm feeling like shit, because I don't have to hide anything from anyone anymore. Yeah. It's freedom. You know, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, and that is a lesson that no matter how long it takes to learn is worth learning. Yeah, and it's more difficult sometimes, I think, for men because of the social conditioning that we've been through, you know, and that you don't really talk about your stuff and all of that. So there's a lot of conditioning for us blokes, isn't there? But it's a lesson well learned, you know, because otherwise you can't really do recovery. If you're not able to say that you're not okay, you can't really do recovery. And
the honesty is not to over-exaggerate it either.
No.
Because there was some points in my life where I'll over-exaggerate a certain situation so I can use on the back of that.
Yeah.
And there was a pattern, you know, like narcissism, pattern, everybody else's fault, pattern. And that's why I used to use on the back of that. And I knew what I was doing, because some people feel sorry for me. And guess what? He might bring a bottle of Courvoisier over to me and a wrap and say, oh, come on, you all right? Yeah. I went, yeah, great. I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because We're very smart addicts.
Yeah. Well, good at manipulating people and situations, that's for sure. Question 10. What is the best thing that recovery has given you?
Well, the best thing which recovery's given me is peace of mind. It really has. It's given me a peace of mind. It's like I have a solution in place which I do daily. It's a set program which I do daily. I abide by them rules daily, and I get freedom. I've never felt this free ever. Yeah, in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
This is freedom.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd make it to this stage, and today I live the best day. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I know one thing, and I say it all the time. The Thomas Merton prayer says it all. We do not know when it's going to end. I know when it'll end for me, because I've already worked out is the day I turn around and get dishonest and put the program down. Everything will come bidding down, because that little devil character's still in my head.
Yeah.
And I can feel him sometimes coming out to play. And he doesn't, because he gets smashed by the angel who's running a 12-step program. And it is a fight which happens daily.
Yeah.
I have a maintenance program in place, so, and
It's a daily program.
It's a daily program, and what I've got is today. I remember when I first came into the rooms and they said to me, "You won't be able to use drugs and alcohol for the rest of your life. How do you feel?" I say, "Sling your hook. You got Bob hope, I no hope." But they say, "Well, why don't you give it a go for today?" Oh wait, you know what? I might just give it a go for today. And that's 2,359 days later, just for today.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. And
Yeah.
it's a slogan, cliche in the beginning when you look at it and you go, what they're on about. But it's working.
It's working because it also keeps you, apart from the fact that looking at the face of it, which is that it's a lot easier to stay sober and clean for one day than it is for the imaginary rest of your life, right? It also keeps you in the day. It keeps you in the moment, and that's good advice for anyone, not just for addicts, right? Instead of worrying about what might be in 7 years' time or whatever, nobody knows anyway, right? It's a good way of keeping in the moment, apart from the fact that it's also easier to stay sober for just one day.
Yeah, and there was a few things which were signed in my big book, and are you willing to go to any lengths, signature, or are you willing to help others, signature. And those rules which were done in front of my sponsor, I abided by them rules, because this is what I do. And it's probably the only thing I've kept with consistently all my life, apart from my using pattern. But, this is tough. It's given me that freedom, it's given my family freedom, there's no words can describe the happiness and joy I feel, but I've still got a lot of work to do.
Question 11. What would you say to a newcomer or someone wondering if they're an addict?
Well, I'd say to a newcomer, do not be afraid. We're all the same. If you think you're better than anyone else, or your using was better than, or your life was better than, was disastrous, or whatever way you want to say it, we're all the same. We sit in their circle, we introduce ourselves as addicts, or alcoholics, or whatever way you do it, but if we cut our wrists, we all bleed red, and it doesn't make a difference. Gender, it could be from any background, any culture. We suffer from the same thing. And the solution, which I found, has worked for me. It's the last thing I tried is the only thing which has worked for me is the big book. The big book. The book I carry around worldwide, by the way, in my rucksack. And a big book, which anywhere I've done shares, it's sat in front of me, because I believe that's the power of the book is there. And the newcomers don't leave before the miracle. That's what they say. I used to think about that and go, what the hell are they on about miracle? Hang about. Don't also around the corner. Well, I'd say to the newcomer, you're still alive. You dodged so many bullets. It wasn't luck which kept you alive. You're blessed. Come in the rooms. You got something to give back. And that's what I say.
Wonderful. And our last question, our question 12. What do you want your higher power to say to you, quote unquote, at the pearly gates?
I would want my higher power to just smile and say, we knew there was a purpose. And you jumped back onto that path, which you were shown that path at a very young age, and you chose to take it your way, and your way didn't work. And now, you jump back onto that path now, and you're part of society, you know. And, you know, the leopard had, you know, the cat has 9 lives. My sister says the cat has 9 lives and I used up 14. Because I was already blessed with a high power. And, you know, with my spirit guide of when I do my meditations, I feel presence. And there's been stages in my life where I see shadows. I think I'm going mad. But I was already mad. But now I found a solution, which is working for me. So happy to be alive.
I'm so happy that you were here on this new edition of 12 Steps and 12 Questions. Thank you so much for coming around, Vinny, for being so honest and so courageous in your shares today.
Thank you very much. And thanks for asking me, Silvio. Because normally there would always be a motive, innit? And I'm going to get out of it. But do you know what I'm getting out of it? I get to breathe oxygen. And it's free.
Yeah.
You can't buy oxygen on Amazon, not yet.
Not yet, no. Beautiful. Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you very much.
Boom. Well done.
Oh, mate, that brought back so much.
Yeah, we're still rolling, by the way, just so you know. We're still recording, is it okay?
Yeah.
It brought back a lot, didn't it?
It brought back gratitude for being alive. And I'm grateful every day. You know, I put my hands and I pray. But just highlights there's so many underlying issues which I skipped. Jumped over that hurdle, jumped over that fence, and it was just a brick wall at the end.
Yeah.
You ain't going further than that. The brick wall had a hole already dug. Could have easily just gone in there and just patted the fucking soil on top of me and said, bye, everybody. But having that peace and serenity is just priceless. It really is priceless. It really is. You know, even when I'm driving, I'm not an erratic driver. I'll plod along, listen to my smooth FM, and I'll just go. And when I'll go, just take my time. You know, and it's not in my world. It's not my time. It's just all in God's time, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vinny.
We've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed it and would like other addicts and alcoholics to hear it, then please make the pesky AIs and algorithms work their 12th step. Hit like and subscribe. While this pod is based on the 12-step recovery program, it's not officially affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. 12 Steps and 12 Questions is not substance or behavior specific, it's fully self-supporting and not-for-profit. And you know this next bit. It's not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, and it neither endorses nor opposes any causes.